What happens to your body when you don't eat sugary foods for 3 months? We all know the role of sugar in our bodies. It gives us energy. Imagine how invigorating it is to have a cup of iced tea or a slice of chocolate cake after you've had a busy day. This is because sugar quickly converts to an energy source, giving you an immediate feeling of rejuvenation. I'm sure you've had those moments when you're feeling tired and a small piece of chocolate can revitalize you. Also, studies have found that candy can help boost your mood. When you're feeling down, a candy bar or a sweet drink can often bring an instant sense of relaxation because sugar encourages the brain to release more serotonin, a neurological substance that makes people feel happy. But of course, too much is not enough, and excessive sugar intake can lead to a host of health problems, which will be explored later. Have you ever imagined going 3 months without consuming sugar? If not, let's discuss it. 1. Effects on the cardiovascular system after 3 months without sugary foods. First of all, do you know how excessive sugar intake can affect our cardiovascular system? It may actually lead to high blood pressure. Sugar intake raises blood sugar and the body releases insulin to regulate it, and too much insulin release may lead to an increase in blood pressure. So, while you're enjoying a sweet dessert, you may actually be slowly adding stress to your cardiovascular system. Now, imagine you're completely eschewing sugar for the next 3 months. During this time, your blood sugar levels are likely to remain more stable because there isn't too much sugar for insulin to regulate. Not only might this lower your blood pressure, but it will also lighten the load on your heart and reduce your risk of cardiovascular disease. Surprisingly, we don't actually need to consume too much sugar. The body has long been able to utilize other components of our diets, such as proteins and fats, to create the necessary energy sources. This doesn't mean we need to avoid sugar altogether, but rather we want to be more conscious of our food choices and understand exactly what's good for our bodies and what's not. In the process of cutting out sugar, you may find it a little difficult at first, such as the fatigue or dizziness that often comes with it. But don't forget that this is a normal reaction as your body is adapting to a new diet. Once your body gets used to a low-sugar diet, you may notice an improvement in your cardiovascular health and feel better overall. 2. Effects on the liver. A cup of coffee with sugar in the morning, a fast food meal with a dessert for lunch, and an ice cream for dinner. Sugar is everywhere. You may think all that sugar gives you energy and makes you feel happy. But in the process, your liver is under a lot of stress. This is because too much sugar intake can cause your liver to accumulate too much fat, which can lead to a fatty liver, which may develop into a more serious liver disease over time. So what happens to the liver if you decide not to consume any more sugary foods for the next 3 months? For starters, there may be less fat accumulation in the liver. Because there is not as much sugar to be converted into fat storage, the burden on the liver is relatively reduced. In addition, the long-term absence of sugar intake may improve your state of insulin resistance, halting the progression of diseases such as hepatitis and cirrhosis. But let's take it a little bit at a time. Over time, you may find that your need for sugar is diminishing, and you may even begin to appreciate the subtle sweetness of those unsweetened foods. 3. Effects on the urinary system. A diet high in sugar may increase the risk of urinary tract infections because sugar is a source of nutrients for bacterial growth. By eliminating sugary foods altogether, you can prevent urinary tract infections by reducing the chance of bacterial growth. Certain types of urinary tract stones are associated with a diet high in sugar. By avoiding sugary foods, especially those containing high amounts of sucrose and high fructose corn syrup, you can reduce your risk of urinary tract stone formation. A diet high in sugar may lead to the appearance of urinary sugar, especially in diabetics. By eliminating sugary foods altogether, you can control urinary sugar levels and reduce the negative effects on your urinary system. On the other hand, a sugar-free diet may help prevent kidney stones. Some studies have found that the more sugar you consume, the less uric acid may be excreted, which makes it more likely that kidney stones will form. However, this may vary depending on the individual. Throughout the process, you may find that your body is gradually adapting to this new lifestyle, and your urinary system will change with it. There may be some discomfort in the beginning, such as headaches, nausea, and feelings of fatigue, but this is normal and is the body adapting. 4. Effects on diabetics. For diabetics, their bodies cannot properly utilize or store sugar from food, so they need to help manage their blood sugar through special diet plans and sometimes even through medication or insulin injections. So what happens if a diabetic decides not to consume any more sugary foods for the next 3 months? First, of course, there's the issue of blood sugar control. If your daily diet contains little to no sugar, then blood sugar restriction will be much easier. Some diabetics may find that the amount of medication or insulin they need to use is then reduced. However, it is not a substitute for a customized management plan with your doctor. Secondly, it may also affect your overall health. A sugar-free diet may help reduce the risk of complications such as heart disease, vision problems, kidney disease, neuropathy, etc., which are quite common in people with diabetes, as opposed to dealing with the challenges of blood sugar control in a timely and pragmatic manner. However, I must say that this is not an overnight process. There are some challenges that you may encounter in the beginning, such as the possibility of experiencing varying degrees of hypoglycemic symptoms, especially if you're on blood sugar-lowering medications. And surely the inevitable thing that you will have to deal with is the temptation to eat all kinds of sugar, such as a strong craving for sweets. 5. Effects on the kidneys. An important function of the kidneys is to filter the blood in order to regulate sugar, water, salt, acidity, and alkalinity. In a healthy person, the kidneys will do some screening of the sugar in the blood to make sure there is not too much or too little. However, if too much sugar is consumed, the kidneys have to do more work, and this can be burdensome. Now, let's see what happens if you don't eat sugar for the next 3 months. First, you may find that you don't need to go to the bathroom as often anymore. This is because blood sugar is stable and the kidneys don't need to remove excess sugar as much. Also, as sugar and salt often come together in our diets, you may also reduce your intake of salt-laden foods, which will also reduce the pressure on the kidneys to filter salt. Secondly, a sugar-free diet may help prevent kidney stones. Some studies have found that the more sugar you consume, the less uric acid may be excreted, which makes it more likely that kidney stones will form. If you can stick to a sugar-free diet during this 3-month period, your kidneys will have a better chance of actively preventing the formation of kidney stones. 6. Impact on weight loss. Did you know that when we talk about weight loss in general, we intuitively think less sugar? This makes sense, as sugar plays a key role in our weight management. But what you're probably wondering is what no sugar at all for 3 months would look like, right? First, I'd like to start by answering a possible question, which is, what exactly is sugar? In this case, we are mainly referring to added sugar, which is sugar added during food processing, as well as sugar in beverages, snacks, and other foods. Of course, we should understand that this does not include the sugar contained in natural foods such as fruits and vegetables. So, if you don't eat any added sugar for the next 3 months, there are a couple of changes that may occur. First, your energy intake may be significantly reduced. We know that 1 gram of sugar contains about 4 kilocalories of energy, and if you are consuming a lot of sugar every day, then by removing the sugar, your energy intake will go down, which will favor weight loss because weight gain or loss depends on energy coming in and going out, and when your energy intake is less than what you consume, you will lose weight. Secondly, you may notice a change in your sweet tooth. Some studies have shown that our taste buds can adapt. You may find that at first, it seems as if there is less sugar in your life and everything doesn't taste as good. But gradually, you'll start to notice the flavors of other foods, such as the sweetness of fruit, the aroma of nuts, and even the sweetness of vegetables. Third, you may be able to control your hunger better. Some studies have found that eating sugar may make you feel hungrier, especially processed foods with lots of added sugar, which can stimulate your appetite and make you want to eat more. Now let's talk about how to avoid sugar intake, which is a very practical issue. I'm sure most of us expect to make healthy food choices, but in reality, can we really do anything to avoid sugar intake? Let me give you some practical advice and examples. First, we can start with beverages. Minimizing or avoiding the intake of sugary drinks is a good place to start, such as colas, fruit juices, and the sugar in coffee or tea. There are many options for replacing these drinks, such as good quality water, unsweetened tea, unsweetened coffee, or homemade fruit and vegetable juices where you can add fresh vegetables and fruits of your choice to your taste. Then we can focus on the food. The most immediate sources of sugar on our plates are foods that are obviously sweet, like candy, cakes, and cookies, and there are also foods that hide sugar, like grilled chicken, toast, sauces, and even some seemingly healthy foods like cereal, cheese, and grilled meats. So when choosing foods, pay attention to food labels to determine if they contain added sugar. Learn to make your food from raw ingredients, or choose more unprocessed foods. Did you know that sugar goes by many names in many foods, such as sucrose, fructose, syrup, honey, etc.? So when you're reading the ingredients of a food, keep these names in mind, and if they appear in the first few items, it could mean that the food is high in sugar. In place of these sugary foods, we can choose fresh fruits to satisfy our cravings, and they are also rich in dietary fiber. For main meals, choosing whole grain breads, brown rice, and other coarse grains are also good choices. A colorful salad with lemon juice and olive oil as dressing also makes a delicious lunch. Avoiding sugar doesn't mean you have to lose all your treats, but rather make you smarter about choosing and enjoying food. However, one thing that many people often overlook in their quest for health is that limiting sugar intake doesn't mean going without sugar altogether. Sugar is necessary in our diets to provide the energy to keep our bodies running. Good quality carbohydrates, such as whole grains, fruits, vegetables, etc., are good sources of sugar and also contain the dietary fiber and important minerals that our bodies need. There are a couple of potential pitfalls to completely eliminating sugar intake. Firstly, if your main source of energy is protein and fat, this may lead to increased stress on your kidneys, especially if they are not functioning well. A prolonged high-protein diet may aggravate the burden on your kidneys, which can be detrimental to your kidney health. Secondly, if you don't get enough energy from food, you may feel fatigued and unable to concentrate, which may even affect your sleep quality. You may find yourself losing energy and unable to complete your daily work and physical activities. In addition, a fixation on avoiding sugary foods may cause you to start craving sugar. Sometimes, this inhibition may lead to binge eating, which can derail your diet plan. As previously stated, sugar itself is not the problem. The problem is whether or not we are able to establish a healthy diet that allows our body to get all the nutrients it needs. At the end of the day, our bodies need a certain amount of sugar to support brain function, especially glucose. With low blood sugar, your mind may become confused and you may even experience dizziness and sleepiness, which can be dangerous in some cases. So, it's not that we should skip sugar altogether, but rather choose to eat the right kind of sugar. Those natural sugars from fruits, vegetables, and whole grains are what our bodies need. For example, A well-made fresh fruit salad or a glass of freshly squeezed fruit and vegetable juice is great for our bodies. Overall, healthy eating is about balance and enjoyment, not about prohibition and restriction. What we need is to turn our attention to how we can choose foods that are more nutritious and satisfying for our bodies, rather than stressing out about what we can't eat. That's all for this issue. Thanks for tuning in.